First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Yahweh is to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahushai is to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Bahashim means in the name, Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's on the Paleo Hebrew. Also, give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. And I'm not sure what I'm going to title this video, but it's going to go into how, hey, this is some proof that the Tower of Babel actually existed. Okay, this is something I came across maybe like a month ago. I just had it saved on my tabs, and Spiros just saw me to hop on it today. And this goes into Nebuchadnezzar's Tower of Babel, the Babylonian king's account of the biblical Colossus. Which, if you don't know what the Tower of Babel is, okay, it is talked about in Genesis, the 11th chapter. And I'll just start at the top and read. It's a quick read. It says, the whole earth was of one language and of one speech, right? Going into the Hebrew, right? You look at all the languages, they all go back to the Hebrew, okay? Hebrew was the original language. It says, and it came to pass as they journeyed from the east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there, and they said one to another, go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth. And Yahweh came down to see the city and tower, which the children of men builded. And Yahweh said, behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they not understand one another's speech. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So essentially, the sons of men were trying to build the tower up to the heavens. And, the Most High was not with that. So he confounded the languages, which meant he made everyone start speaking different languages. And from there, they weren't able to understand each other, and the building, wasn't able to continue. So when you go into this right here, it says Tower of Babel Steel. Okay, this is the Showen Collection MS 2063, Oslo and London. And this is what it looks like right there. Can't really see much of it, but in a picture down below, they give like a recreation to be able, so you can see, what it really is. But this goes into, who Nebuchadnezzar was. But this is what I want to read right there. It says, the Burr's cylinders are a series of clay cylinders dating to 600 BCE, discovered by Sir Henry Rawlinson during the mid-19th century at the Babylonian site of Borsippa. The cylinders, bearing parallel inscriptions, were found inserted into the walls of a massive, heavily damaged tower at the site. This tower, a type of the famous Mesopotamian religious ziggurats, had been heavily repaired during the reign of King Nebuchadnezzar. Bricks were found around the site, having been stamped with the name of the king. And the wall cylinders had an interesting story to tell. Rawlinson, known as the father of Assyriology, translated the inscriptions as follows. I am Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. My great lord has established me in strength and has urged me to repair his buildings, the Tower of Babylon. I have made and finished the Tower of Borsippa, had been built by a former king. He had completed 42 cubits, but he did not finish his head. From the lapse of time, it had become ruined. The rain and wet had penetrated into the brickwork. The casing of the burnt brick had bulged out. Merodach, my great lord, inclined my heart to repair the building. I did not change its site, nor did I destroy its foundation platform, but in a fortunate month and upon an auspicious day I undertook the rebuilding. I set my hand to build it up and to finish its summit as it had been in ancient times, so I built up its structure. As translated above, Nebuchadnezzar literally calls this monument the Tower of Babylon. Babylon is interchangeable with Babel. He describes this tower as an important ancient Babylonian edifice built by a former king that for some reason or other the workers stopped short in finishing. They did not finish its head. Why not? Some clue could be taken from the second name Nebuchadnezzar gives for this tower, the Tower of Borsippa. Borsippa literally means tongue tower, thus providing a link to language. Surely a significant linguistic event must have happened in order for Borsippa to receive its unique name. The Bible, as well as secular histories, provide the explanation. So here it says Borsippa Zikkurat, a possible location of the Tower of Babel. And it says, there's another translation of this text that is even more direct in language. This one comes from Rawlinson's contemporary Assyriologist Julius Oppert. He translates a couple lines slightly differently. The most ancient monument of Babylon I built and finished. A former king built it, they reckon 42 ages ago, but he did not complete its head. Since a remote time, people had abandoned it without order, expressing their words. So this lines up exactly, okay, with what we read in the scriptures. Okay, how they started building and were able to finish. The main thing here of the proof is the Burr's cylinders. So let's look that up to see, if we can find a picture showing us the Burr's cylinders. Cylinder. Oh, there's no picture. Let's go to the images. Right, so this is what it looks like. Or this is the tablet. And cylinder would be right here. I believe it's this one. Which that's the way that they wrote anciently in that time. So this is what it was right there. So on that is what they read, what we just read, about Nebuchadnezzar talking about that tower. And that main thing there was he said that they stopped the building suddenly, and it was called Borsippa, the tongue tower. So, so many connections. And, if you got the eyes to see, you can see how these things did happen. So it says the Tower of Babel stele is a black ceremonial stone about 50 centimeters, 20 inches tall, discovered just over a century ago among the ruins of the city of Babylon. Since then, it has been kept as part of the private Norwegian Skoen collection. It has only recently been restudied, and the conclusions have led to great excitement in the scientific community, along with the corresponding video production by the Smithsonian Channel, re-examining the authenticity of the Tower of Babel story. Right, so that would be, what the tower or the stone was showing. It says, the tablet belonging to King Nebuchadnezzar dates to around 600 BCE and includes a depiction of the king in the upper right-hand corner. It says Nebuchadnezzar king. The partial translation follows. Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon am I, in order to complete the towers at Temenanki and Ur-Meiminanki. I mobilized all countries everywhere. The base I filled in to make a high terrace. I built their structures with bitumen and baked the brick throughout. I completed it, raising its top to the heaven. This tablet describes two different religious towers known as ziggurats, and Ur-Meiminanki was the Borsippa Tower described earlier, located about 11 miles away. So, kind of just skimming through it now, and essentially it's just more, going into how, this did happen and those inscriptions from those times. So, this is off the Armstrong Institute of Biblical Archaeology. And one thing I also remember, which is another, proof you can go into, is the Moabite stone. Right, I made a very comprehensive video going into this if you go on my channel. And the Moabite stone is a stone of the Moabites. And this stone essentially says everything that happened in the Bible exactly, as we read it. So it says the Moabite stone, also known as the Mesha stele, is an ancient black basalt monument carved around 840 BCE by King Mesha of Moab. It features the longest Iron Age Canaanite inscription ever discovered in the region and is widely regarded as one of the most significant historical artifacts relating to biblical history. It says the 34-line inscription details King Mesha's successful rebellion against the kingdom of Israel following the death of King Ahab. He credits his victories and subsequent building projects to the Moabite god Chemosh. Biblical parallels. The text corroborates and offers a counter perspective to the events described in the Hebrew Bible, 2 Kings 3:4 to verse 8, mentioning the house of Omri and the Israelite god Yahweh. It is also believed by some scholars to contain the earliest extra-biblical reference to the house of David. So, it lines up exactly with what the Bible says. And whenever I see this, it always makes me think about how, and you look at the language too, and this is the ancient Paleo Hebrew. That's one thing too. Look at this right here. A lot of people forget that, but this is the original Hebrew that the Moabites were writing in. So, right. The Moabite still mentions Yahweh in Paleo Hebrew. So, like I said, whenever I see this, it always makes you remember how, we've been lied to all our lives, thinking that, we've been told how there's blacks, there's whites, there's Latinos, there's yellows, there's Asians, there's French, all these terms, but there's only really nationalities. There's Moabites, Ishmaelites, Edomites, Israelites, Ammonites, 18 different nations, right? And before the terms we have today, that's what they were called. And this is proof, right? It's still talking about Moabites. So, the lineages are real, the story is real, and it's all real. So, hopefully this is edifying. I'll leave it there. With that, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushua, Ba'ashim Kakudash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to you, like Shalom.